champions.
This holiday season, we're throwing a big bash, a night to remember with events perfectly matched. But take off your robe and put on your gloves, 'cause this time of year, it's not all about love. We'll wrap up our boxers till they all fire aglow, then wait for the sleigh bells to go toe-to-toe. We'll give you a hook and throw you a right. It's a good time for all, and for all a good night. This season, two gifted stars risk it all. Mayweather versus Manfredi. Plus, two young heavyweights exchange greetings for a title shot. Rahman versus Tua. Live tonight at 9:45 on HBO. Happy holidays!
Exhilarating, hard-hitting, unbeatable. HBO Sports. And now, the HBO Sports presentation, Inside the NFL.
This week, if they can make it there, they'll make it anywhere. The Bills' Bruce Smith previews Saturday's showdown with the Jets. And we'll explore the relationship between Tampa's Warren Sapp and Tony Dungy.
Welcome to this week's show, and what a week it's been for our friend Nick Buoniconti. He is so happy this week.
And nobody knows that it's his birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rick.
Happy birthday, Rick. A little discount shop, you know.
No, that's not why he's so happy. It's because he could finally uncork that champagne that's been on ice for 14 weeks, waiting for everybody in the league to have at least one defeat, so his 72 Dolphins undefeated season will be still intact. He was so happy that he went over to the Giants facility and presented a trophy to the winning quarterback, Kent Graham, saying, "You're my player of the week."
And Kent Graham sent him over a trophy, an early Christmas gift that says, "To Nick, our new biggest fan." Right. There it goes.
Go Giants. I love the Giants. Now, he's my new adopted son. I put him in my will.
What are you going to give him?
Unpaid bills.
That's what I figured. Now, let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Give them credit. 13 victories in a row this year, 18 when you go back to last year. A lot of teams want to know, how did the Giants do it?
Well, Nick and I both had a chance to talk with Jim Fossil this week, and Nick was busy kissing his ring. I was talking football with the guy. But he said basically on the defensive side, what they did was they covered up all those offensive linemen, played bump and run on the outside, bump and run on Shannon Sharp, and really blitzed John Elway. The guy just doesn't move quite like he used to.
Everybody thought that the pass to Amani Toomer was by accident. No, it was planned. All week long, they talked about getting one-on-one coverage to the outside on Tito Paul. The last minute, Toomer says, "Throw me the football." Tito Paul was there, but so was an Armani, and the Giants won, Lenny.
Really?
The Giants won.
Well, you all are talking X's and O's, but I think what really happened, the coaches did a great job on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every Giant player that I saw interviewed said, "This is our Super Bowl." The players said, "You want to be in the Super Bowl? You want to win a Super Bowl?" And I think they won it with emotion. They won that game because they were excited.
I can't wait until next week to see what hats you'll be wearing next week. All right, it took a Giant performance to beat the Broncos. Let's see how Jim Fossil's squad accomplished what no other team could.
Fly around, baby. Keep our concentrated. Play like we're capable. We know what we can do. Go on, play 60 minutes. Like Bronco football, we'll come out of here with a win. Broncos on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It was supposed to be just another Bronco field day, but last week in the Meadowlands, Big Blue declined the role of Patsy and instead used big plays to compete with the NFL's big boys.
Carver on a swing pattern out of the backfield was wide open. That is a touchdown of 21 yards, and the Giants, for the first time today, have a lead.
A blown coverage allowed Tukey to torch Denver. The leads don't linger against the Broncos, and by the fourth quarter, the Rocky Mountain Express was rolling.
I wonder if this is Terrell Davis time here. Yes, it is. Left side, TD. Nice hole. Terrell, 25. Terrell breaks the tackle. 10, 5. Touchdown, Denver. And the Broncos just don't want to give this streak up.
Earl Davis's romp gave Denver a 16-13 fourth quarter lead. But while the Broncos were playing for perfection, the Giants were playing with pride and doing some gutty running of their own. Brown's bulldozing run had the G-men in scoring range, but disasters soon struck.
To his right, gets a crease, gets to the 30, fumbles the football, and it's loose, and I think
Instead of pouting, the Giants responded with poise.
We're going to get it again. We got to really occupy. Hey, come on now. Here we go. Hey, what's doing really good, man? They're taking the edges, but you're keeping the middle tight. And you can step up in there and find somebody. Let him come high. Keep the middle of the pocket tight. Short set him and keep the middle tight. He can step up in there and find
The line heard and heeded, and as predicted, the middle was wide open, but not for a pass.
Graham, pressure. Graham steps over the pocket, can run forever. Graham over the 40, over the 45, into Bronco territory.
Still, with under a minute to play, options were limited. But for one glorious play, the Giants proved there are no limits to dream.
57 seconds left. Blitz on. Giants get it. Graham throws deep down the right side, looking for Toomer. Touchdown! Caught by Toomer, but they roll out of bounds. Well, touchdown! He's in. Yes! Yes! Over Tito Paul. He was in. He's 7 yards, and the Giants have the lead. And that's why you throw it to the tall guys. And you see Bonacani now. He'd be up here kissing everybody.
Way to go, man. Make something happen. Good job.
They're celebrating in Miami. They might be crying over it Monday Night Football.
The game is over. The streak is done. The Giants celebrate as though they just won the World Championship.
Way to go, man. Way to wing that sucker, man. Like, hey. Oh, man. Way to wing it, man. Way to wing it. Man. Thanks, brother. It's great, isn't it? Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for sticking with me, man. I told you he was going to come through, man. Way to make me famous.
What do you say, man? Make you famous?
That's right. I told him on TV on night. I go, hey, Amani just says, hey, just throw it up. I'll make you famous. So we did that today. There you go.
Yeah. Awesome, man. We got it.
Hey, man, I'm going to tell you something. That was unbelievable. Hey, there is nobody that thought we were going to win today other than us. Hey, but I'm going to tell you something, man. You never stop. Defense, that was unbelievable. Hold that group down, man. That's unbelievable. And offense, hey, y'all taking that field with 2 minutes to go putting that damn thing in the end zone. Yeah.
The Sparks were flying Sunday night in Miami as the Dolphins hosted the Jets in a showdown that looked and sounded like a playoff game. At stake, first place in the AFC East.
Testaverde to throw. Throws it right corner. He's got Quebec. Touchdown. Touchdown, New York Jets to number 80, Wayne Quebec. Just an awesome pass. Wayne Quebec's faster than Robert Jones, the linebacker. What's Robert Jones doing on Wayne Quebec?
This reindeer game was all Jets. The heck with blitzing. It was on Vinny, on Curtis.
Testaverde on the pitch to Martin running right. Tries to cut back inside the 5. Touchdown. Curtis Martin with the patience of a saint. He beat Kevin Mawai outside, so he waited for him. And then Mawai buried Derek Rogers, and that's when Curtis Martin turned it back up inside for the 9-yard touchdown run. The Jets with a 14-3 lead.
What's got to take place is somebody's got to beat somebody. That's what we talked about in the first place. Know that the center is sliding to our right, so somebody's got to beat somebody.
Behind the banged-up line, it was Dan Marino who was beaten as New York's front seven poured in from all angles and sacked him 5 times.
Blitz is on. Marino in trouble, down on his back.
The Dolphins were losing the battle up front, and worse, they were losing heart. Forced to throw a staggering 57 times, but a fourth quarter hookup with Lamar Thomas down to the 3 had the fans and head coach Jimmy Johnson jumping.
Marino in the shotgun. Here's a blitz at him. Dan fires into the end zone. It's caught. It's a touchdown. Oh, Jay McDuffie. All right, Miami.
Miami trailed by only 4. With the game and the division lead on the line, it all came down to one big play.
Marino will likely get this play off. And just does. A lot of time. Now in trouble. He's caught from behind. The ball is loose. It is picked up by Chad Cascat. He goes in for a touchdown. Touchdown, New York Jets. Chad Cascat stripped Dan Marino of the football. Oh, baby.
Miami's first home loss put them a game back in the East, and next they host a must-win game with Denver. The Jets, meanwhile, just might be closing in on their first division title since way back in 1969.
On the way to the playoffs, baby. That's all I have to say.
The Jets are in the playoffs, but it's a long way to the Super Bowl. But I'm still in shock that Denver lost last week, and more in awe than ever of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. I played against that perfect team in the season opener, and their accomplishment just grows and grows as time goes by. In this week's NFL Storybook, we look at 3 key games on the way to history.
All the motivation in the world we needed was remembering that loss to Dallas in Super Bowl 6.
Staubach looking it over, back to pass, throws one to the end zone, caught by Allworth, touchdown for Dallas!
We got to that dance at Super Bowl 6, and we were so excited to be there that we forgot that you had to play a football game.
Pitch out to Thomas, Dwayne cuts inside the 5 with a two-minute touchdown for Dwayne Thomas!
They beat us 24-3, and it's, many, many years later, and I haven't forgotten that score.
And Staubach drops back to pass, sets up, pass to end zone, touchdown, Mike Ditka, and the Cowboys are now 23-3.
We realized after that ball game that there's only one winner, and that's the team that wins the Super Bowl. So our entire emphasis was not to get to the Super Bowl, but to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I think the closest call probably was the game up in Minnesota. That was when the Vikings were very tough.
They had the Purple People Eaters, and they had Fran Tarkenton. It was a ferocious, hard-hitting game. I'm seeing a mental picture of Roy Winston almost breaking Larazaki in half.
I got probably hit the hardest I've ever got hit. I went out for a pass, and I got hit in the back.
Late in the game, we found ourselves down 14-6. Hero Yepremian kicked the longest field goal of his career, which was a 51-yarder. That made the score then 14-9. And the defense gets a stop, and we get the ball with not a lot of time left. We drive down the field, and there's a series of great plays. And we get the ball on the 3-yard line, and the call is 119 split delay.
14-9. Reese drops the throw. He fires the middle. Wide open touchdown is Jim Mandich. The Dolphins have scored.
We came from behind, and we won that game 16-14. That was the toughest challenge of the year.
Drops the throw. He sets up. He is firing for Philly. He's got it. And he's in for the touchdown. And here come the white handkerchief. A long count at the line of scrimmage on the snap. He drops a couple of steps back, gets a good rush, fires, picked off by Delacante. Griese drops to throw. He sets up. He is firing in the corner. Mandich. He makes a tremendous catch. Holy Toledo, what a play by the third-year man from the University of Michigan, Jim Mandich.
This is the Vince Lombardi Trophy for the winner of the Super Bowl.
The accomplishment to me is everything because nobody else has ever done it.
Being undefeated has given us a special niche in football history.
They'll never take away what the Miami Dolphins did in 1972.
That's something that will be with me for as long as I have breath.
You were part of something no one has ever done before. And let me tell you, that's a remarkable feeling.
The Dolphins have won Super Bowl VII, have completed the greatest season in NFL history.
Nick, you must be very proud to know that you're part of an accomplishment that may never be equaled.
You know, Lenny, great group of guys.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the current Miami Dolphins. They're backs are kind of against the wall because they're playing Denver. They've already got home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphins need this football game, Lenny, because they're not in the playoffs yet. You know, the way Buffalo's going and the New York Jets. But the way I see it is Jimmy Johnson's going to run the football 35 times in this ball game. The problem is they only average 2 yards a carry, and that doesn't win football games. But I think they win in an upset.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Denver's defense, you can throw on them, but you got to stretch them out. And what does Miami do? They throw all those dunk passes, 10 or 15 yards. That will not get it done. It's going to be the Denver Broncos winning that game.
How about Nick Bonaconte picking his? I think he's still a little bit high from that game the other day, you know. Let's talk about Nick's new favorite team, the New York Giants, as they host the Kansas City Chiefs. Both these teams getting back to their roots running the ball.
And I tell you, if you look at the Giants, Gary Brown is the guy running the football. And he's an unusual guy. He took a year out of the National Football League. He said he rented an apartment, and he only knew 2 phone numbers, the delivery guy for hoagies and the delivery guy for pizza. He ate his way up to 260 pounds. He says, he watched TV. He said, I'm better than that back on television. I'm going on a diet, and look what he is now. He is the New York Giants. He runs the ball over Kansas City Chiefs. And I got a pizza number.
You like pizza, too. I was just going to say that thing. But right now you have to look at the New York Giants, and what Kent Graham has done.
Kent Graham's his new best friend.
He sure is finally given a little balance to that offense. That's the reason they've been able to run the football, because they're threading it down the field. Bam Morris giving some balance to the Kansas City Chiefs, but I still like the Giants here. Well, we've already seen how the Giants upset the Broncos. Now it's time to see how the Chiefs shut down that Cowboys attack.
While 1998 has been a disappointment by their usual standards, Kansas City hoped to turn the corner against Dallas last Sunday. But after a slow start, quarterback Rich Gannon found an open road to the end zone.
They fake the trap, bootleg play. Gannon running left, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City!
Kansas City led 17-3 against the injury-plagued Cowboys. And while Troy Aikman found Patrick Jeffers, number 81, Dallas lost its comeback bid. With the win, the Chiefs still have a chance to avoid their first losing season since 1988. While the Chiefs have made some noise with their resurgence, Peyton Manning has very quietly compiled a record-shattering rookie season for the struggling Colts. Last Sunday, Manning's top weapon, number 28, Marshall Faulk, tormented Cincinnati with a Bengal and Mouse game played to perfection. Making his first start in over a year, Jeff Blake looked to bring the Bengals back, finding an old friend, Carl Pickens. But the day belonged to Manning as he threw 3 scoring passes, 2 to number 87, Torrance Small. With 24 touchdown passes this season, Manning broke Charlie Connerly's 50-year-old rookie record. This week, the Colts traveled to Seattle to face a Seahawks defense which had a dizzying effect on San Diego's Craig Wheelahan last week. Nonetheless, the Chargers got an offensive jolt from Charlie Jones. But for most of the day, the Seahawks had the Charger offense stumbling badly. Seattle used the blitz to flood one side of the line with pass rushers. Even when San Diego called the right protection to match it, a missed assignment provided a free route to the passer. The result here was one of 7 Seahawk interceptions, this one by Terry McDaniel.
Throw intercepted! Off a deflection at the 40, going down the sidelines. Terry McDaniel scores! Touchdown, Seattle!
However, John Kitna was just as generous in handing Jamal Williams a gift touchdown. But Seattle flooded the line again, and another missed blocking assignment equaled 6 points for Cortez Kennedy. The Seahawks' 12 return touchdowns this season are a league record, and Seattle hopes to keep playoff hopes alive this week against the Colts. It's not easy being John Gruden these days. Not only are his Raiders in the midst of an injury-riddled free fall, but last week Oakland visited Buffalo and were served a plate of humility a la Doug Flutie. In dicing the Raiders, Flutie had lots of help. Veteran Thurman Thomas gave a pass-blocking clinic, stuffing Richard Harvey once to give Flutie time to find a receiver. And when Flutie was flushed from the pocket and rolled right, Thomas finished off Harvey to provide even more time. Flutie led the Bills to 17 points before the dazed Raiders recorded a single first down. Eventually, Oakland found the end zone behind 39-year-old reserve Wade Wilson. Despite Ricky Dudley's score, Buffalo had forced 4 turnovers, returning 2 for touchdowns.
Wade Wilson, a deep drop. He throws, it's intercepted at the 40, at the 30, at the 20, at the 15, at the 10. Gabe Northern is in for the touchdown.
With the win, the Bills have all but assured themselves their 8th playoff berth in 9 years. This week they face the Jets, with the AFC East title still very much up in the air.
You can't say enough about Wade Phillips and the job he's done keeping the Bills together. They started 0-3, had that New England game stolen by the referees, and despite all that are just 1 win away from the playoffs. And here to talk about the Bills, their all-pro defensive end, Bruce Smith, who was just named to his 75th consecutive Pro Bowl.
Easy.
No surprise there, but 6 Bills making the Pro Bowl, 4 on offense, including Doug Flutie. You have to love what's going on the offensive side.
I certainly have. It's been a tremendous year. I remember when we started off 0-3. I realized that we were a good football team. We were just making foolish penalties and foolish mistakes to put ourselves in a hole in which we had to fight twice as hard to get back out of. But with the emergence of the way our offensive line has been playing, with the emergence of Doug Flutie, his capability of being able to make big plays in any situation, and along with our running game and our wide receivers, and the coaching staff have been doing a tremendous job.
All right, Bruce, let me put you on the spot for a minute and ask you about Carolina's Kevin Green. He was suspended for 1 game for going after his linebackers coach, Kevin Steele. Some say the reason that he hasn't been vilified the way the NBA's Latrell Sprewell was is because he's white. You've been on the NFL sidelines. Do you consider it to be the same sort of an incident?
I don't know the specifics of what exactly took place, but I can tell you, when you're on the sidelines and emotions and adrenaline is flowing, and anything can trigger a situation like that. So I think it's best to treat one another, whether it be a coach or a player, with the utmost respect. And if you have a disagreement or a problem, I think it's best to be worked off of the field, worked on off the field, as opposed to on the field when there are hundreds of cameras around.
You're way too sophisticated for a defensive end. I want you to tell me about Vinny Testaverde and how you're going to get after that guy this week.
What we want to concentrate on right now is just put pressure in his face. We want to make sure we disrupt him somehow, some way, some shape, some form. I think that's going to be the most important thing. We may not get a tremendous amount of sacks. We may not get a sack at all. But if we could disrupt him, let him know that we're going to be around at some point in time during the ball game and keep him off balance, I think we'll be successful.
Bruce, I'm picking the Buffalo Bills this week. Am I out of my mind?
I hope not. I think that I think we're going to go in with the intensity, and hopefully we'll have our 12th man out here that'll be as loud as they could possibly be, and hopefully the advantages will be on our side.
I know all about that 12th man in Buffalo. Good luck this week, Bruce.
Thanks, Chris. Happy holidays to you guys, too.
Lenny Bruce in the holiday spirit in Buffalo as well. They should be there, but I'm not so sure the same could be said about Kevin Greene and the Carolina Panthers. A lot of controversy down there. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think we should get right to the crux of the matter, and that is it a black and white situation? Right. Latrell Sprewell, NBA basketball player, suspended for choking his coach for the entire season. Kevin Greene attacked his coach, or a confrontation with his coach, suspended 1 game.
Yeah, but Lenny, Latrell Sprewell was premeditated. I mean, he was at practice, he attacked his coach, then he left practice and came back later and attacked him again. Here you have Kevin Greene, frustrated. The team is 2-11 going into this ball game. It was the 3rd drive in a row where they got a touchdown. Kevin Greene is sitting on the bench, and his coach went over and pointed the finger at him. Believe me, that was all it was an emotional reaction.
Let's talk about the penalty, because Fred Lane, a running back with the Carolina Panthers, had an obscene gesture. He was suspended for 1 game without pay, and here it is. He's black. Kevin Greene is white. He attacks or confronts a coach, and he gets a 1-game suspension.
I don't understand what's going on really down there in Carolina, because, number one, I would never suspend a player if this is the first time he made an obscene gesture. I think you bring that player and says it better not happen again. And I'm from the old school. When I coached, I probably wouldn't suspend anybody for having a confrontation with a coach if it was the first time. I think you take both players and say, be sure this never happens again.
But what about the penalties? I mean, should they be the same in the situations?
I don't think so. I think having an obscene gesture is nowhere near as severe as going out there and grabbing one of your coaches.
Well, let's talk about a game coming up. The Buffalo Bills hosting the New York Jets. And I'll tell you this, if the Jets win, it'll be their first division championship in 29 years. 29 years ago, Nick, you and I played against a guy named Joe Willie Namath.
That's right, Lenny. In the first ball game, Parcells definitely outcoached Wade Phillips. He employed a 4-4 defense, had an extra linebacker who spied Flutie and made his life miserable all day long.
But I think that's before Flutie really fell in love with Eric Moulds and Andre Reed. Now he's throwing the ball to those 2 great receivers. I don't think they can play that defense again.
I like the New York Jets because of coaching, because they're having problems with injuries with Aaron Glenn, Keith Byers, and Leon Johnson. But what does Parcells go do? He goes out and gets Dave Meggett, who can fill 2 of those roles. I like the Jets.
Well, I look at the 2 quarterbacks. There's 2 cast-offs, both going to the Pro Bowl, and you got to look at Vinny. He's only throwing 6 interceptions the entire season. But Doug Flutie's at home. The crowd will be quiet. He can audible, and he can run to the outside.
Yeah, but you got to forget, too, there's 2 guys, Mo Lewis and Brian Cox. These guys are playing like all-pro caliber. Mo Lewis is going to the Pro Bowl. I like the Jets.
You know, the Jets and Bills have an awful lot in common, including losing to the real champs of the AFC East, the Rams. Well, they continued their rampage through the division last week by